What's up? Hey guys. Awesome to be here. Gyris Diaries, another countdown show. I wanted to do some more story-based stuff today, and then I'm going to read some of the script. Now, it's going to be just me doing that. So what I'm going to do is tell you a bit about our storyline and kind of where this fits. And then I'm going to do quite a bit in language. So I'm going to be trying to do two voices, and I'll show it on screen, the translation, so you guys can kind of like read along. Yeah, I'm going to be sniffing and be pretty gross, so I do apologize, but the show must go on. Okay, so some of you have heard me talk about the story of Gyris a fair bit. There's kind of two stories running parallel. The first film really sets up the other two, so there's a lot going on in Gyris as a whole, introducing us to the Mingieri and the Dar War, all the animalia of Gyris and the Bura. But amidst this is this parallel personal story of a Bura named Argus. Now, Argus is an orphaned Bura. He is of Duara, and he finds himself, he's very much a loner. He doesn't really take part in a whole lot of in the traditions of the Bura, which are very strong, as you guys know. Diwali being really the central calling of the Bura. It is something that each Bura is called to do, to go in search of their dua, and it's something that he's denied for quite a few years. So we meet him at the time of his life where he's decided to kind of buck his own personal trend and head out on Diwali. Now, it's not that he's not capable of or afraid of the forest. In fact, we learn quite early that he's really quite capable out there. He spends a lot of time in the forest during the day, which is, for a lot of the young Bura, they stay in the protection of the stronghold or the village that they're in, and rarely venture out, even in the day, into the forest. The forests that surround the Bura lands, are known for for losing for losing Bura. You don't go out in the night, only in the day, in the light of the sun. When people don't come back, they kind of never come back. So, there's this kind of boogeyman stuff going on. The Olgren talking about the Ochichurri, the darkness that lives out there. The Gurun. So the Gurun is another sort of folk tale. We hear about these Buras gone wild, those that went in search of their dua tree and never came back. Perhaps it was too large, they couldn't carry it, so they stuck with their dua tree as it grew, and had that small amount of protection from the dark. That is the significance of the dua trees themselves. The only reason that Buras can stay safe in the Bura lands, now that there is such the darkness has grown so much in the surrounding forests, is that the dua tree provides a level of protection. It's somewhat of a force field. So they're planted. There's the mother tree, and then there's other ones that are planted sort of around the borders of a stronghold, and that protects from the forest. So you can imagine that these things will be pretty significant when you guys are playing the game, in protecting your little village that you've created from what comes or goes bump in the night. Now, Argus decides to head out. He is a loner, but due to a few things that have gone on at the start that you guys will find out about in the script, he's kind of made some friends, sort of, and he's off in search of his dua, and due to a few events, he is separated. He finds his dua, but his dua is too large. It's so big and so gnarled that Red and Yadel and Vadel, two twins, who have just found their dua trees, they tell him that it can't be it because they're looking at it and it doesn't look like a dua tree to them. But Argus knows that it's his, and he pulls it from the earth. But it's too large for him to carry like a normal dua tree. He has to strap it to his waist and try to climb out of what is the translation at Death Valley. He sends his friends away. He sends Red back with Yadel and Vadel, who are a rather funny pair, twins, and he tells Red, these guys aren't going to make it back. You need to go and follow the markings I left, and you need to get them back. He said, I'll be right. I'll get this. I know the way back. I'll drag this up the hill, and I can get this back to Dwara. So Red heads up the mountain, and on the way up, as he climbs up this really kind of steep section, he sees his dua tree. And he pulls it out and he continues to walk. But what you see after he walks away, and Red doesn't see this, or neither does Yadel and Vadel, but a crack forms from where he pulls the dua tree out, and a landslide occurs, now blocking the way for Argus to return. So Argus is stuck in Death Valley. Koyastad Nay, or Nay Koyastad. And he needs to find another way. This is where he meets, in the rubble of this landslide, he meets Nels, a baby Og. And Nels has been orphaned by this landslide. And he goes with him until he finds a clearing. And this is the scene I'm going to read for you guys now.
Exterior, valley floor opening, dusk. Argus and Nels walk into a clearing where they find a large dua tree. At its base there is an opening. Nels runs inside it. Argus hesitantly looks around and then up at the sky before joining him inside. It's dark, too dark to see much at all. Nels cuddles up with Argus barely visible from the light of the opening. In the distance, the sound of an animal whimpers. Nels nuzzles in fear into Argus as he shuffles them both back, away from the light and into the dark of the tree's hollow. Fade into Argus lying down, his eyes heavy, slipping into sleep. Exterior, unknown forest location, day. Argus dreams of the forest and once again hears voices, but this time louder and more distinct. He assumes the perspective of a life force moving through the mycelium, through the undergrowth. Flashes of a cloaked figure, the mother tree burning, a baby crying, a woman screaming. Now the perspective of the life force as it races up a tree and explodes into what looks like 1,000,000 particles of light. He is but one particle of light. Now someone watching from the heavens at scorched earth. From within his dream a voice. Dua umi! Argus is woken from his dream, only long enough to be knocked unconscious by a darkened figure standing over him. Exterior. Forest opening outside Dua Hollow, dawn. Argus wakes, blurred vision. He hangs from a spiderweb-like rigging of vines. He hears a lone voice from below and behind him as he tries to turn his head enough to see. Gai kimi a mangi og. You me only just met. He laughs hysterically. Argus writhes again enough to catch a sight of a large hairy mass before it again slips from view, muttering.
Oi mokem, silly og. Sims oi mok nai. Meet em.
Hey! Hey! Leave him alone! A silence. Then the sound of something climbing and scratching up the tree ever closer to Argus's position. Argus is nervous. A large, rough, nailed hand appears in his periphery, wrapped around the trunk before disappearing. He hears heavy rustling around him again before silence. Suddenly a huge figure, rough and covered in wiry, matted hair, hangs in front of him in full view.
Kuin mangiti nai. Mi oi harim yakim kaya.
Garun? The beastly figure disappears quickly and then appears again upside down and closer still.
What is Garun?
You are Garun. A Bura like me. Let me loose. The beast looks at him quizzically.
Tuya ummi Sims.
The figure again disappears.
Mitingi Ochichurri. Bura okin going nai koyastan. Dis la bura lais. Dis la bura moi ul nai. Mama na papa yakim rohim miat tua yumi. Tua mahan yumi. Em yakim mahindin nai. Simsiko. Now nai kam. Baru umi. Ko yakim oldim oyu. Mi yakim di eme. Mino nai. Toyo umi agi de doara.
The Garun appears again, this time in a rage.
Papa nama mamuri. Naikin uyo torok.
Argus, restrained, is staring into the eyes of the Garun, unable to move.
Mama na papa uminyok. Mikes romiana.
The Garun, Sims, face softens slightly.
You onai. You oiken nai. You ayoken nai. Disla ukarosh ingya uyo.
Sims gestures towards the part in the tree where the sun is soon to peak. He sits on a branch for an awkward moment, looking between the horizon and Argus hanging, nails on the ground. The sun soon appears and hits Argus in the face as he squints. Sims opens his eyes wide at the moment of truth before realizing Argus is not his enemy. His demeanor turns to jovial in an instant.
Emoi Ochichurri. Og tell truth.
Sims slams a blade into the vine, which unravels them enough for Argus to fall to the ground.
You yakim baro. You yakim. Ay baro umi. Mi oi baro umi. Me like him.
Exterior, outside Sims's dua, early morning. Despite his wildness, Sims had his entire area meticulously manicured. He's constantly moving to clean up this space as Argus observes with curiosity. You yakim, Yuri yakim?
Yes. Mama teach me good.
Sims, I have to get home. Duara is... Argus looks up towards the sun, performs a quick calculation and then points into the distance. Sims considers and then points back towards where Argus had come. No, this is the way I came. The ground shake. Took the only path. There must be another. Only bad place. We don't go to bad place. Papa say, no dua, you die. Plenty Ochichurri. Maybe eat you. Sims walks up next to Argus, and they both stare down at his dua, laying on the ground. It is cumbersome and unpleasant to look at. Sims looks confused.
This la dua? Ayo. Promise.
You yakim.
Disla duara. Bura Mary?